Hi, my name is Sandy Roberson. I'm mayor of the city of Rocky Mount. I am constantly, or at least recently, constantly being approached either through email, through phone calls, text, conversations out in the general public. And it goes something like this typically. I can't believe that y'all in the city of Rocky Mount in leadership spent $80 million over the last 3 years. And then you're going to go up on utilities and you're going to make me pay for your mistakes. And I certainly understand that sentiment, and I certainly understand the anger that people have in the community. And look, I'm feeling it too. I am a resident. I am paying these bills as well. But as it comes to utilities, I think it's important for us to recognize that we've been in a position for many years here where our charges have not been reflective of the cost of production of our utilities for electricity, for water, for sewer. And so I think it's important that we listen to Bradley. Bradley Walters spoke to us at our very recent council retreat that was held here at the event center and spoke to all of these issues, both the cost, the charges, as well as the comparative cost or charges with our comparative tables with our neighbors at Wilson, Greenville, and other places. With that said, we're going to take it off and let Bradley. This was filmed by the city of Rocky Mount at our retreat. Bradley goes about the process of explaining to us both why we procure generators, why we do a lot of the things that we do, and also to frame it in perspective that we were in a position that we were going to have to go up on utilities within the next year, regardless of whether or not we had spent our savings, in essence.
When Duke issued during that cold snap, they requested of their customers to do what they could to kind of back off. We didn't have to do that because we were running generators.
Right, that's what I was asking.
So that's what you're getting at. We didn't have to do that because we were running generators. We were reducing load. So if Duke were to come to us and say, we need you to reduce load, we can say, well, we're already reducing this amount of load to take it off your system. So we were doing our part by running generators. In effect, we were also missing the coincidental peak, keeping our monthly charge down.
So which is another validation of why we have so many generators and why we invest in the generators for demand and for that particular reason you just described there.
Right.
Which is what I was getting around to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Typically, I mean, it changes whether we can get used or new, but we typically have a pretty quick payback on generators. Less than 5 years in most cases. Our savings, in some cases, in the case of a used one, we can get that cost back less than 3 years. It just depends on each situation and what size the generator is and what price we can get it for. But yeah, it helps the bottom line. So, looking ahead, again, not quite as uniform and not quite as steady of an increase that we're looking at. The natural gas market can change. But we do have a pretty good idea that our gas price is going to be, the actual gas, the commodity piece is going to be between $4.50 and $4.90 during the winter months over the next 3 winters. Okay? The capacity piece, which is the most volatile piece right now, is an additional $3 or $3.50. So you're looking at somewhere between $7.50 and $8.50 combined to get natural gas here during the winter months. Now, there's a lot of things that we do internally to make sure that we're not fully exposed to that market. We do three layers of 25% hedge at different times, similar to a dollar cost averaging perspective. All right, so we'll hedge gas in layers of 25% multiple years out so that we can kind of cut out that volatility. What that does is that allows us to be exposed by 25%. Now, on a warm month, we may not use much of that 25%, and we're very little exposure. But on a month like January and February, the way it kind of straddled both months, that cost went up tremendously. The wholesale price the market price of natural gas was over $8 in January. In February, it was around $7, a little over $7. And so our rates aren't set to recover that gas price. So that's why we have the PGA. We'll talk about our rates in a minute, but essentially those are methods that we use. Now, we also use what we call an LNG peaking service. On those coldest days when that gas price went above 40, it went above 100, above $150, instead of us going out and buying gas on the market that day, we had LNG peaking. We purchased LNG peaking. We've been doing it since 2019, where we can allocate a certain amount to come on our system that's already bought and paid for, so that we're not exposed to that market price. And so only on, we have very little risk to buy the market. I mean, on those, the entirety of that week, we bought zero market gas. And we saved about $2.2 million just in that week off the wholesale cost of gas by having that LNG peaking piece in place.
Bradley, is that are you intentional about that manual, or is that an automated process or is it some hybrid?
Oh, no. So that we have a broker. Texacan is our natural gas broker. We talk with him all the time. We're nominating gas. We're hedging gas. About this time of year, we usually see a second quarter low that's going to come in about April. Typically, that's when we buy LNG for the next winter. And that will fluctuate, you know.
In times past, we've had the brokers come in and present to us, and then we need interpretation of what they speak.
Right.
But do you think you could arrange for that?
Absolutely.
If that's something that everybody would want to hear directly?
Absolutely.
Well, Councilman Blackwell, and you need to help me out with the organization that you were president of recently. I think you were high up. What's the organization you're involved in?
For the gas industry?
Yes.
So I'm on the APGA board and the CPGA board.
Okay, so he's in the right places to help us out. So
Well, we can tell.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, I can absolutely get Texacan to come here. We can schedule a presentation to give you the gas market is complicated, and that's why we use their assistance on doing that. But we have these plans in place. We have a policy that talks about how much we can hedge, how far out we can hedge, and those sorts of things. So we also have the ability to hedge that capacity, but that's not that far out because that's very volatile. So we do the best we can to make sure we cut the peaks and valleys off, and so that, you know, that's good for budgeting.
I want to make a point here. That's why it's important. The boards, we were talking about it out in the lobby. It's important that when we have staff on certain boards, that it's important that when you have these conferences that you attend, to gain more knowledge of what is happening around the world and to network. That plays a major part in business. People say all business is not done in the office, but it's done on the golf. I don't play golf, but some of you do. And I'm quite sure a lot of deals are cut on the golf course. But anyway, like any other places. But again, my point is that that's part of business. So I just want to put that point. So when people question that, they know the reason why. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Knight. And I'd like to state, during our reduction operation efficiency plan, we did suspend some travel, but Bradley was allowed to do that because we figured that would be essential to our operating our business. So he was able to continue to do that. And thank you for your service on those boards, Bradley.
Yes, sir. So the gas cost of service study, not quite as far along as the electric, a little bit further behind due to some purchasing requirements there, but we're going through the same process. It's the same process. And the biggest question that we have is, where the budget outlook for fiscal year 27. So we're working through that future budget outlook. Similarly to the electric side, we are operating with very little fund balance in the gas system. We are projecting, with the help of, obviously we have this PGA in place, with the operational cuts that we've made to the budget, operational cuts that are going to come to the cost allocation piece of the budget. We are projecting to finish that the gas budget balanced. So we're not dipping into any fund balance because, again, we don't have it there to dip into. But we have to build that back. Now, the difference you'll see here in our recommendation, our gas rates are significantly under recovering our cost by a lot. And we've been utilizing the PGA too much. Now, when I say too much, I don't mean that we've been utilizing it often. We've just been, when we've needed it, it's been a large number. So 20 cent, a decatherm or a therm is about 20% on a residential customer. A few years ago, when gas prices got up close to $5, we put a 40-cent PGA in for the entire year, about 40% increase to the customer. It really shouldn't be that big of a swing. You know, our rates should be recovering most of this with very marginal amounts in the PGA. But because our rates are so far behind, we've had to rely on the PGA too much. So our gas rates are under recovering revenue versus expenditures. And again, part of that expenditure piece is the cost allocation. $28 million gas budget, $9 million of it goes to general fund, $15 million of it buys gas. We operate the gas system on $4 million. So just to kind of give you some references on where we're at there. All right, so we're under recovering there. So the fiscal year 27 budget, we're obviously looking at an O&M budget that is maintaining the system. You know, natural gas has a safety aspect to it that a lot of people are aware of. In order to run a safe system, a tight system, there's a lot of things. The natural gas system or the industry is regulated by the federal government. There's marks, there's compliances and stuff that we have to have, inspections that we have to have. So all that goes into the O&M budget. We still have some. Go ahead.
What's the difference with the when you buy gas, let's say super flame, whatever, when they come to?
So propane is
right.
Propane is slightly different. Propane is delivered to you as a liquid, and then you use the gas vapor off of it coming out of the tank. It's a heavier gas. Natural gas burns a little hotter. Natural gas is all gas. It's all gas from the oil well all the way through the pipeline system. So pipeline gas is delivered from the Gulf, from the Pennsylvania Marcellus Shale, whereas propane is a part of the oil rig process. It gets pulled out, refined, and it's not pipeline.
Is it cheaper?
It's about the same. Actually, natural gas typically is cheaper. Okay. Natural gas is typically 60 to 70% of the cost of propane for the same heat value.
So with propane, when your tank empty and you can't pay to get it, you can't get any gas.
That's right. That's correct.
You get an extension on your bill.
That's correct.
Okay.
Whereas natural gas we have a continuous supply. It's on demand, so to speak.
So maintenance of the lines becomes critical, right?
That's right.
Because there is no storage.
That's right.
So it's always a flow.
That's correct.
And are we susceptible to terrorism? You know, people intentionally trying to blow up gas lines, or?
So we're always susceptible to it. It's in the ground, so it's not visible, but you see it on your meter sets. You see it along your businesses at your meter sets. The pipeline maintenance is a key part of the compliance. We have to make sure that the pipeline material, we have steel main replacement program. That's part of our capital budget that we're replacing that out.
That's our responsibility.
That's our responsibility.
All connectivity to the main line.
We have 5 gate stations that we pull from Piedmont. Piedmont delivers gas to our system at 5 different points along our system. And then we own everything from that point all the way to the customer meter. And so that's our responsibility. So we have to make sure it's inspected, leak surveyed. We have to make sure it's repaired, it's tested, all the stuff that goes in there into the compliance of that. And that's part of our operations and maintenance.
Question. Help me understand, because it's hard for me. Give me some clarity on the rates. Are the rates too low, or we're here talking about expenses and cutting expenses, or are the expenses just too high? And I've been asking for an itemized list of expenses, because what exactly that $9 million that you're paying is going to?
Right. It's a combination of both. I'll show you on the comparison here in a second. You'll see the difference in our rates, but we're under collecting, and expenses, are probably higher than they need to be in some regard. So the last thing here, these necessary capital expenditures, pipe replacement, steel main replacement, ERT index gas meter indexes, gas meter replacement, all that needs to be funded through capital projects. And then also, we have a plan to, again, hit that 180-day mark. Now, the gas system is a smaller system than the electric system. Our gas system is $28 to $30 million. So 180-day mark for us is going to be $14 to $15 million on the operating fund. The reason we go 180-day, my suggestion is the reason we should go to 180-day over 4 years is because of the volatility of the market. It can drain that down really quickly. If we were only sitting at 6 or 7 million, one bad week in January, it can cut that in half. And so if we were had that 180-day versus 190 versus a 90-day for the electric. So here's the comparison you were talking about, or you were asking about. And so what I've got here is similarly to the electric comparison sheet. I've got the first column is our base rate. You'll notice our facilities charge, similar to our electric facilities charge. This is during the winter because we have that changes for us in the gas side. $34. This is our first 10 therms. Anything over 10 therms, we're at like 85 cents. So our customers with 100 therms of usage, which is about average during the wintertime, is about $121. With the PGA in place that we have now, 20 cents, you can see that it's not quite a 20% increase to the wholesale bill there, to the whole bill. But you'll see here that we're at about $141. Okay, it's a $20 increase. When you compare that to Wilson Energy, they're at 174, 43%, we're 43% less. Greenville Utilities Commission, we're 37% less. And Piedmont Natural Gas is almost double, 81% more than our 100 therm customer. And so kind of going back to what you were talking about, we are significantly under recovering in comparison to our peers. These are the three gas systems that are us and Greenville and Wilson are the three municipally owned systems. Piedmont's the other system that's just outside of our territory. So you can see here that the gas side, we're not anywhere close to the rates that our peers are paying or charging. Now, again, this is theoretical. This is not a. You may want to keep pushing that. This is not a proposed rate adjustment. But just to kind of give you an idea of how far off we are, a 50% increase would still put us well below Piedmont and slightly more than Wilson and Greenville. Now, Wilson changes theirs every month. Greenville, we'll see here, they have different rates that they charge winter and summer. I'll show that comparison here. During the months through April through October, when we don't have a high gas usage, we give that cost back a little bit in the form of a reduced facilities charge. That drops to $14 during the summer months for us. You see their facilities charges did not drop at all year over year, month over month within the year, but you'll see that their rates are different. Wilson's isn't, but Greenville Utilities and Piedmont, their rates are different. They actually charge a little bit more in the summer on their rate. So collectively, again, way behind on the gas rates. That cost of service study, once we have some better clarity on budget, what exactly we need to account for in that budget piece, making sure we account for replenishment of fund balance and making sure we account for some capital projects that we really we can't delay on. We've got room to be competitive. So any questions on the gas piece there?
Bradley, obviously this is residential. Do our major industries, are they primarily electric or gas or both?
Both. So we have a lot of our bigger industries use both. They're both electric and gas. The gas system actually extends far beyond the electric system territory. The two territories aren't exactly the same, and they both extend outside the city limits. For those that don't know, we serve the entire town of Nashville, natural gas. We serve natural gas all the way up to Universal Leaf on 58 near Castelia. We serve natural gas all the way down to Highway 97 and 95. We serve out Edgecombe County on both sides for both utilities. And so there's a decent percentage of our customer base that are not in our city limits and not on our city electric. So our large industrials, yes, they use both.